So we're back with Team Glock Captain Shane Coley. So, what initially made you want to join the Army?
Well, my dad was a lifetime law enforcement officer, so that whole type of mentality has always been present in my family. All the years of growing up and stuff.
Yeah.
And I either wanted to go to college or shoot. And I actually had an opportunity to go to college and play baseball. And then the Army, that opportunity showed up, and it was an opportunity for me to serve my country, still continue to shoot and train other soldiers. And I decided to choose that career path. I felt like that was going to be more beneficial to me in the long run, and it aligned more with what I wanted to do in my heart.
Gotcha. So was it joining the Army that got you into shooting, or did you get into shooting a lot earlier?
I got into shooting much earlier than the Army.
Okay. So when did you first shoot? When did you first start getting into shooting? Well, actually, let me say, when was the first time you ever shot, and how old you were, and do you remember the gun?
Geez, that's a good question. I think I was 7 years old.
Okay.
I was with my dad, and I want to say it was
a Glock 19?
Colt. No, I think it was a Colt Commander.
Okay. Oh wow. Oh really?
Yeah, my dad was 1911 guy.
Okay. I'm sure a lot of people were back during that time.
yeah, hardcore 1911 guys.
So at what point did you realize that you really, like this shooting thing was it for you? Like this is something that you really wanted to keep, really pursue?
Probably my senior year in high school.
Okay.
I started shooting competitively when I was 14, and it was fun. I enjoyed it, but my heart was still in baseball.
Okay.
And
what was your position? What position did you play in baseball?
Middle infield, short and second.
Gotcha.
I pitched for a little bit, but I hurt my arm, so I had to give that up.
Gotcha. That seems to be the story for a lot of pitchers.
Yeah, throwing curveballs too young. But my heart was in baseball for my entire high school career, and it sucked to give it up. But shooting was a lot like baseball to me. To me, baseball was like you step in the batter's box and you're going to war with the pitcher.
Yeah.
And to me, there's still nothing like that. But shooting was very closely related to that because I step up to the line in a stage and I'm going to war with the next person.
Gotcha.
So I kind of held on to that, and I saw more of a career in shooting than I did in baseball. So I had to make a choice.
Do you find yourself ever using some of the things that you learned from playing baseball in shooting competitions?
The mental game, yes, absolutely.
Awesome. So
absolutely, because
go ahead.
Well, baseball, a lot of people from the outside view baseball as a very slow sport, but in reality, it's actually very high paced because there's a million different possibilities and a million different variables that could happen on any given play. So mentally, my mind is always racing to prepare for the next pitch or the next hit. What am I going to do if the ball comes to me, or ball's hit to right field? What am I going to do next? Yeah. So in relation to shooting, I spend a lot of time thinking and about 2 minutes of a day shooting. So I have to constantly be mentally there. I can't just show up at a stage and
then say, that sounds like some stupidity I would do.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, no, trust me, I would do something dumb like that, and then be surprised when I don't do very well and be mad about it. Yeah. What can I say? I'm an entitled Generation X / millennial. So, what are some of your career highlights? Some competitions or wins that stick out in your mind?
The biggest one was 2012 when I won my first national championship.
Okay.
I actually won IPSC national championship and U.S. national championship that year. Since then, I've won a couple team world championships, numerous area regional championships. I was runner-up silver medalist at the 2014 World Championship.
Okay.
So this year is another World Championship year for us. So this is actually a really, really big year for us competitively.
Really?
Yes, sir.
So how do you think you're going to do?
I'm going to take it all, man. Take it all.
I'm mad at it. So how often do you and Tori and Michelle actually train together?
Well, not so much because actually Tori is no longer with the team. She left earlier this year.
Okay.
And we replaced her with Ashley Rourke.
Okay, gotcha.
So we try to train together as much as we can. that's what I was talking about, the training camps earlier. I try to schedule those a couple of times a year. We all get together and go out and shoot. And then depending on what schedules are like, I'll fly to either one of the teammates, to Michelle or Ashley, and give them private classes, whenever time permits.
Oh, really? Awesome.
Yes.
So now you have a video called Train with Shane with regard to training. What are some of the mistakes that you see beginning shooters or amateur shooters making the most?
Some of the bigger ones are anticipating the trigger pull.
That's me.
Basically, if you think about it, basically you have a small explosion going off in front of your face. I don't know of anyone who actually is comfortable with that.
For me, honestly, it's more of a control issue.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It takes a lot of discipline.
Oh.
And that's a big one, anticipating shots, trying to force the recoil to go where they want it instead of letting the gun kind of do its own thing.
Yeah. It's a battle you're not going to win.
Right. The gun is going to recoil regardless, no matter how hard you grip it or hold it. It's going to do its own thing. Mm-hmm. I see improper grip angles. A lot of people's left hands.
When you say improper grip angles,
too upright.
Okay.
Instead of holding the left hand at a 45-degree angle down, or whatever your support hand is, a lot of people have their hand straight up and down, which lowers the grip pressure on the frame.
Gotcha. So what type of grip pressure are you actually applying to the frame? Because I hear so many different schools of thoughts. Some people say the majority of it should be coming from your support hand, or it's like evenly distributed between the left and right, or 30-70, so forth and so on. What is it something that you're consciously aware of, or have you done it so much now where it's just intuitive?
Now I think it's subconscious. Mm-hmm. When I actually stop and think about it, my right hand is probably a firm handshake. Okay. And then my left hand is pretty tight.
Really?
Yes, but I don't want to grip the gun so tight with my right hand. I lose the dexterity in my trigger finger.
Gotcha. Now, what would you consider to be the weakest part of your shooting? Like, what would you consider your weakness? And what would you consider your strength?
Speed is definitely my strength.
Okay.
I've always been a really fast shooter. My biggest weakness, I think, is control.
Okay.
I think it's something I've struggled with for a handful of years throughout my shooting career. Just certain lapses in focus where I get a little bit out of control and throw a shot.
Yeah.
So that's something I've been really training on hard lately. Incorporating a lot more discipline into my training. Mm-hmm. So I don't have those simple mistakes in matches.
So if you were going to talk to somebody who is, it's always been amazing to me how, even within shooting, people certainly have natural abilities with different aspects of shooting. If I were going to put myself in a category, if I had to say I have a certain talent, I can typically run a gun pretty fast. Mm-hmm. But I'm in many ways, I'm like, I'm all over the place though. I don't have much in the way of control. But for somebody, I've run into certain friends who can't run a gun fast to save their life. Darren Lasort being one of them. And so if you were going to give advice to, say, someone like Darren in terms of improving his ability to shoot a gun really fast, what would that advice be?
Increasing speed it's really hard to teach. Yeah. Speed, I believe speed is one of those natural abilities that either you have it or you don't.
Yeah.
Like you said, some people just can't shoot fast, and some people can shoot really fast.
Yeah.
And I can teach anyone how to shoot accurately. I can teach you how to look at your sights and squeeze the trigger.
Yeah.
But to really teach you how to shoot 10 splits or sub 10 splits, that's really, really hard to do. It becomes, you have to just, my advice would be set up a target at 5 yards and just rip the gun as fast as you can, and see if at some point you can start seeing your sights, picking it up that fast. Eventually, in theory, your brain will get used to seeing your sights that fast. And then from there, you can try to increase the speed.
Now, speaking of sights, what are typically your favorite type of sights to run on your gun? Now, I know some people hearing this, if you don't really know much about shooting, you're gonna think this is just such an inconsequential question. But what type of sights do you like to run on your gun, and why?
For iron sights, I run a fiber optic.
Okay.
Just because the all black sight, I tend to lose sometimes. Uh-huh. I have an all black rear sight. I like adjustable sights just for the ease of zeroing the gun.
Okay.
But I actually like using a green fiber optic for a front sight.
Green.
I feel like in overcast days and on sunny days, the green stands out the easiest.
Uh-huh. And
I'm still able to pick up the black outline of the actual front side blade itself.
Gotcha. And then as far as, and so how much shooting do you do with, like, say, RMRs or red dot mounted handguns?
It depends on the time of year. Like right now, we're getting ready for Optics Nationals coming up in actually like 2.5 weeks. So my entire last 5 months of training has all been with an optic.
Okay.
Which is actually my favorite to shoot.
Oh, really? Why?
Oh, very much so. Well, I grew up a optic shooter.
Okay.
I've shot red dots for like 10 years.
Ah, okay. Because I hate them.
I love them.
Well, I don't hate them. I'm just going through a learning curve right now where I'm learning how to actually pick up the dot. Because I think I keep trying to shoot the gun as if I'm shooting a rifle.
Well, me and Michelle had this very conversation.
Mm-hmm.
One of the hardest things with optics is you see everything.
Yeah.
Every little heartbeat, every slight glitch, movement that you have, you see it in the optic. And people like to try to force the gun because of what their dot is telling them. Like I told Michelle, every optic tells a story, and you have to let it tell its own story. You can't force it to flip the page or do something different.
Yeah, no, that's actually dead on, actually, because you're right. One of the biggest things for me is it's like I literally, and it's distracting. I was like, I see every bit of movement. You give me like I think I was outside. I was shooting a video the other day, and a guy handed me a gun with a red dot on it, and then he had another version of it where it was just irons, and I ran the iron so much better, and largely because I don't see the imperfections in my stability, my grip, all of those things. So I'm more confident in taking the shot. Whereas with the red dot, I may still be on the exact same way I was with the irons, but since I see the movement, I'm readjusting lining, I'm shooting a lot slower, and then not having as much in the way of confidence. Really quickly before we go, we got about 30 seconds. How important is confidence going into the competitions or shooting well in general?
Incredible. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the most important things, because if you don't have any confidence in yourself, then you'll have constant lapses in focus. Your mental game will not be there. Your trigger pull won't be there. Just your ability to run the gun to your full potential, it will not be there. You'll second guess everything you do, and it'll 100% show.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Shane. It was a pleasure, man. I look forward to getting down there to Atlanta for the National Rifle Association annual meetings. And
absolutely. Thank y'all for having me.
Oh, no problem. If you see a random black guy walking around the building at Glock, just don't worry. It's just me. I probably snuck in the back somewhere. So.
Well, just come by the booth and say hello, man.
All right, man. Appreciate it. You have a good one.
Yep. All right. Take care.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to speak with one of my good friends, Rob Pincus.